This video will cover the last of the tools from this menu up here. So today we are diving into the last little button, and there's two options. You will either see plugins up here if you are part of the plugins beta, or you will see the word more. Everything's still in there, works the same, just going to have a different title on this. If I click this, you'll see all of our little options right here. First one is plugins. Now, I'm not going to go through using plugins. There's some other YouTube videos about them. John Creasaw has some excellent 301 classes inside the Sudowrite Discord. I highly recommend checking out his use with them. He has a lot of them that he's played with. But this is essentially ways to tweak your prose. Now, I don't use it because I tend to just do a lot of prompting inside Sudowrite, or I turn to Playground or ChatGPT. But a lot of people love it, especially for the convenience. They don't have to go somewhere else to, make whatever changes, edits they need. So that is plugins. When you go to exit plugins, if you hit the home, it's just going to bring you back to all your projects. So there's no back button. You just need to do your back browser. Right. One of my favorite things from this menu is you actually don't see it right now, but it's first draft. To get to first draft, you have to first make a new blank document. So I'm going to click to add new. And now that I have this blank document, if I come over here, I now have first draft. So in the old interface, in the story engine version, when we had a blank document over here, there would be some writing. There would be a hyperlink to say generated first draft. That is essentially going to be the next screen. You just no longer have that hyperlink to click into. Now you click into it from this menu. And first draft is useful for a lot of things. I use it a lot in my class demonstrations for nonfiction work. So I could tell it to write an outline for a nonfiction book about two yoga poses and their benefits. And the sparkles here are one of my favorite things to watch. And of course, you want to verify everything just the same as if you would in ChatGPT or anywhere else. This is using ChatGPT. I think it's 3.5. I could be wrong on that. But it gives you the breakdown right here, this whole outline that you would first check, edit to your liking. After you edit and everything's good, you have a couple of options. So we can do another document for a first draft. But first I would decide, do I want to prompt to do each chapter, or do I want to just sort of start expanding? Now, in my classes, I have shown y'all how I prompted to do a chapter at a time. So I'll just say, write chapter 1, covering the mountain pose. I'm actually just going to take all of this. I'm going to create a new document. And this is a bug they're working through where that toolbar disappears after you've used first draft. So we're just going to have to force refresh. And I'm going to come into first draft again. And now I am going to put in that outline. I'm not going to give it instructions. Normally I would, but I want to burn through my words to show you how things go. So we're just going to leave it at that. I just put the outline in. Let's see. So doing very well so far. Now this isn't going to output a lot. It's normally about 800. I think the most I've gotten is well over 1,400 words from it. I'm just going to let it keep going. So it looks like it went through all of the poses and now it's kind of wrapping up. There we go. All right, so it's finished. 1,204 words. Not bad. So now we essentially have our whole book here, but obviously nobody wants to read that kind of book. This would be more like for an article. So if you want to do a brief article, this would be great. Of course, always edit, always edit. No matter if we don't say that, please, it should just be a given. Edit what the AI gives you, make it your own. You'll also see it went ahead and named these documents. It did the auto naming a couple of months ago. They prompted it to start doing that, which helps. Because before it would be a lot of untitles or, we'd have to go in and start naming things. So with this output, I could then easily come in here and say, since I'm on this editor screen with my laser tools and stuff up here, I can say, okay, we're on the mountain pose right here. Let's expand that. And then it gives us all of this for the mountain pose. So I can insert, and again, I have all this highlighted, so when I click insert, it's just going to replace. If I don't want to replace, I will not highlight it, put my cursor where I want the information to go, but I want to place that. And now I could actually go through and do that with each one. I won't. I'm just going to do one more so you can kind of see how quickly this can add up. And expand this one. Right. Insert. All right. So we started with 1,204 words. Now with 2 expansions, we are at 1,498 words. So you see how quickly you can really put something together. And I love First Draft for nonfiction. I really do. It's pretty much my go-to, but you can also easily use it for fiction. So again, we're going to add new, force refresh until they fix that bug. I really hope you're viewing this video and you're like, it doesn't do that to me. So I'm going to tell it, right? We're going to go with dark romance because, I love my dark romance. Write a dark, fluffy romance novel about, and I'll just use the example from my book. My dark mafia romance novel about a female mafia boss who get captured, held prisoner by a male rival mafia boss. Actually, you can actually do this 2 ways. I'm only going to do it one, but just so you can see how versatile it could be, I could actually tell it to start doing the outline because I know I want to make it a series and ask it to do a series outline for me, and it would do that. I'll just say this story should end in for the female and male mafia boss. So it should end in an ADA with the female and male mafia boss being together. And I can just let it go. All right. Katerina. I don't know that I've gotten that name. It's always nice when they throw us something new. Now, we didn't really give it any guidance other than a genre and a main plot point. So don't expect this to be in line with your vision. If you have a vision, you need to put those details in there. The first draft box can hold a lot of information. A lot of information. And that was the story of a mafia boss and her journey to redemption through love. Okay. So on this one, for whatever reason, it looks like she's in love with the interrogator. So it needs a little bit of work, definitely. I want to move on because I don't want to tie you up. Shrink ray. I'm not going to do shrink ray or feedback. Shrink ray is whenever you can essentially give it your story or a good portion of your story and it will condense it down. This is good for like blurbs or things like that. The feedback is you can give it again portions of your story and it'll give you some advice on it, just like what it says, some feedback. I don't know too many that have used shrink ray, but several have used feedback. And the general consensus is because it can't see your whole story or doesn't see your whole story, a lot of the feedback that it gives you is kind of useless. So, it's telling you, hey, expand on these characters, give some background info. But of course, your story has that information. So there's some tweaking that needs to be done there. But overall, people seem to like it. Tweet Storm. I have not used that. Let's click it. Generating some tweets. Okay, so it's generating 12 tweets. Katerina was the leader of her family, and she built her empire under the radar. But that all changed when she was captured and brutally interrogated by a rival mafia boss. So I actually kind of like that. So these would be some good things to share for your novel, before release, as you're writing the novel, preparing for your launch, maybe while you're editing, you could put some stuff in there, have it generate the tweet storms for you so you can start pushing those tweets out, gaining interest while you work on your edits and get it ready for publish. Twist. That is another one of my favorites right here. So you have some genre choices to pull from right here. I typically just do literary or maybe fantasy if I'm doing magic. I found that they all actually give me pretty similar output. Like I thought if I chose literary, it wouldn't pull fantastical elements, but it still did. So normally I just click into literary. Let's just say I'll use the same premise. A female mafia boss gets captured and held prisoner by a mafia boss. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let's see what it gives us. So here we have what we input in there. The rival female mafia boss who captures the female mafia boss is revealed to be a trans woman. Okay. The female mafia boss is not only a woman, she is also pregnant. The rival mafia boss decides to let her live because she is too much of a trophy to kill. Okay, she makes a deal with the rival mafia boss under threat of death to spare him if he lets her live. Rival mafia boss is a woman, and the female mafia boss is compelled to commit suicide. As you can see, twist just goes every which way, but it's really one of my favorite things for ideas. After being tortured for months, the female mafia boss is forced to have sex with her captors. Her captors are men. The mafia boss who captures the female mafia boss has a knife placed on top of their heads and tells them that they are buried alive. The female mafia boss then bursts the coffin open and tells the rival mafia boss that if he ever tries to do the same to her again, she'll kill him and his entire family. I like that. It turns out that she did all of it for revenge, because why not? In order to cement his own position, the mafia boss who captures her kills her and buries her body. Mafia boss tries to show her gratitude by letting her go. The two bosses want her to help them plan a heist, and she refuses. She is then hidden in the next room, but wakes up to find herself in her own home where her mother and children are all alive and well. So yeah, it goes every which way. Let's do fantasy real quick. And I will do two young adults who are chosen by dragons to be taught, to receive and be taught magical abilities. So it was one of these, I don't remember which genre I had picked, but it was giving me a lot of Marvel references. And he said, it can be out there. Two young adults were chosen by dragons to receive and be taught magical abilities. Okay, they find out that they are a boy and a girl being impersonated by a pair of imposters. Dragons offer to grant the power to the girl's boyfriend, but he refuses and chooses the girl instead. And the dragons kill him. Okay. Dragons are actually illusory projections of the human subconscious minds. Protagonist's mother turns out to be a dragon, bookends with her riding a dragon trying to kill the young protagonist. So you see, this can go every which way. I love it. Let's go back and look at our list. Characters. All right. Sticking with the same thing, female mafia boss is captured and held prisoner by a male. Right, ends with the two mafia bosses happily in a relationship. You know what? I actually don't want to put that, so I'm just generating some characters right now. So a female mafia boss is captured and held prisoner by a rival male mafia boss. And yes, you could definitely put that ending in there. But I'm the type of person, I love to get ideas from the AI. So I want to see if it'll give me some other characters, maybe things I'm not thinking of. Okay, so we will go with Katarina, because that's the name it gave us. She is an intelligent, dark-haired woman with hazel eyes. How many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Characters need at least 10 words in the description. Dark-haired woman with hazel eyes and a voluptuous figure. Well, so let's go with one of eight, because why not? I'm gonna say, just to make sure. I tell they're female mafia boss. With, and let's give him those piercing blue eyes. Blue eyes and a brooding intensity. All right. And of course, we could add some additional conflict, some contrasting natures with these. Like she is very business oriented. I'm going to say who's mafia business deals with drugs and guns, loves violence. You could add some more. Go with it. Okay, so our summary, two characters we put in. And then it gives us three more. So Tony, light-hearted psychopathic female mafia boss who suffers from sexual identity problems and doesn't know if she's a man or a woman. Rita, a female mafia boss of a rival family, a sister to the previous female mafia boss. She is the first wife of Dominic and hates Katerina. Okay, could use that. Milo, a chauffeur of the female mafia boss, he has a crush on her. So two decent ones right here. And I actually like this idea of a light hair. Okay, I like the idea of the psychopathic female. I really do. Like, I could see this being one of them's best friends. No, or maybe like his sister or her best friend. I can see that happening. Next up, we have Poem, which I have never actually used. So let's try it. Let's go for it. You can see how well it knows me and what I'm used to. I suck at poems, y'all. I did one way back in high school, and that was it. Let's see. Inners of dark romance have issues. Of this we are aware. Just don't hear. Can you like that? You ask. You know who the real hero is. This is going to be horrible. You know who the real hero is. Shh. You can only do five. Only do five. Wow. Hmm. Okay. Let's see if I can finish my line. You know who the real hero is. Man who appeared in the world. Right. Let's do it. Right. So no more than five lines. It will not let me enter. So keep that in mind. And let's see if it keeps up with my terrible lines or if it makes it better. It's not doing any of it. I don't know if the OpenAI issues are affecting it or what. Okay. Poem cannot be demonstrated for y'all. I apologize. Let's go to visualize instead. I don't think it'll do this one because it's very sensitive, but, and you can do visualize here or from the drop down. It's the same thing. Yeah, I don't think it'll visualize this, but it might. Like I said, it loves to prove me wrong sometimes. So it's popping up over here. Oh, upgrade. So they are now with Dolly 3. It's as you can see, because if you've played with Visualize before or seen it, it was very almost cartoonish. I don't want to say cartoonish, that's not quite the right word, but now you can see it is much better. So I love this one actually. And that she's got the distorted face, but no big deal. But this is how you could play around with Visualize and get those little images for social media and some little teases and everything. Like I could imagine a great caption going with this middle picture right here. All right. Tweet storm. And we see Katerina was the leader of the family. She had built a powerful criminal empire. She got captured and brutally interrogated. Mhm. I did better the other day. These aren't so catchy. The other one was actually pretty catchy. But you can see how, again, you could use these, at least to get you started maybe, but Let's see what's left. We have feedback. I'm not going to click feedback. Well, yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it. The feedback is basically just going to read everything here and give you feedback. So it's reading those, and the input, however many words it reads, that is what you get charged for. It's not going to charge you based on this output right here. It charges you based on the input. All right, so feedback for a great story. I thought the theme was finding redemption through love. Katerina faced many struggles and challenges in her life, but she was ultimately able to achieve redemption. Very cliche stuff, particularly like the theme of resilience. And then it goes into areas of further exploration. And this is where this is the downside, according to a lot of people that use this, because of course they already have this information somewhere. It just can't see it inside this document. So that is feedback for you. And that concludes our list of Sudowrite features here. Next up, we will be going through Story Bible and Canvas.